The Gaza Strip is a densely populated area with more than 2 million residents, stretching for 25 miles between Israel and Egypt. But just underneath this sprawling landscape, another layer exists, a vast labyrinth of tunnels. The underground maze was largely built by Hamas. The group, designated by the US as a terrorist organization, controls the Palestinian enclave. As Israel prepares for a potential ground offensive in the territory following a broad assault by Hamas on October 7, the subterranean network could play a key role. So here's why experts say these tunnels could make urban combat costly for both Israeli soldiers and Palestinian civilians. The underground network has existed for decades inside Gaza. Previously, it was largely used as a route to smuggle goods and weapons from Egypt into the narrow strip of land that's twice the size of Washington, D.C. But since then, the tunnels have evolved to become a key military asset for Hamas.
I went in 2014 with the IDF into a Hamas-built tunnel during the conflict at that time. It was a pretty crazy experience in a sense. These were pretty sophisticated tunnels. I'm about 6 foot, and they were, I didn't have to bend down at all in them. They were very well reinforced with concrete. There was communications lines running down the side of them, and then they also had almost like a sort of little rails or like a sort of railway line running along the length of the tunnel.
During Israel's 7-week war on Gaza in 2014, the Israel Defense Forces, or IDF, said it destroyed 32 tunnels. They were used to hide weapons, equipment and troops, but also allowed Hamas militants to launch surprise attacks using cross-border underground networks. In the years since then, Hamas has continued to develop its tunnel infrastructure, and Israel has continued to target it. This map, based on a graphic shared by the IDF, represents networks of tunnels that Israel said it damaged.
I think the expectation is that there is still a significant subterranean network that Israel is going to encounter if and when it goes into Gaza this time.
Former Israeli security officials say Hamas has built hundreds of miles of underground tunnels in the last year or more. Israel is readying for a possible ground invasion of Gaza by carrying out airstrikes targeting the subterranean network.
I think that the strategy will be to try to destroy as much of the tunnel network as possible before they launch a ground invasion.
However, the operation to destroy them could be challenging for Israeli forces. One of the biggest issues is locating them.
Gaza is a dense urban environment, and being able to discern precisely where a continuous tunnel, which may in fact be deep underground, is located, as opposed to possibly natural pockets of slightly differing geology or a host of other aspects of the built-up environment, that's a really hard challenge.
Even if a tunnel is located, additional factors, including its depth, can mean precision bombs can struggle to destroy it.
It depends not only on knowing precisely where the tunnel is beneath the surface, but on having the explosive power to be able to damage a tunnel network that's beneath perhaps layers of concrete, possibly layers of metal, whatever the built-up environment entails inherently, as well as whatever materials have gone into construction of the tunnel itself. And the net result is that tunnels are relatively invulnerable in many cases to air attack.
Analysts say any Israeli operation to destroy the Gaza tunnel system could be complicated by the presence of hostages. Hamas's armed wing said in a statement on Telegram that some of them were being held in the underground tunnels.
If the aim is to rescue hostages, they can't be detonating explosives within the tunnel complex, which might kill everyone inside. It's going to require ground forces, and specifically tunneling forces, who know how to operate in these tight spaces, who have trained extensively in how to minimize the risk of ambushes and how to avoid triggering various booby traps.
One 85-year-old hostage who was released by Hamas said she had been inside.
There are a huge network of tunnels underneath. It looks like a spider web.
Entrances to the subterranean passageways can also be hidden within residential infrastructure. Experts say as the war continues, any mission to target the tunnels also brings risks to civilians.
In 1978, Dianne Feinstein, then president of the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, made this shocking announcement.